2 and 1, and we are live again. Hi, I'm Andrew Berman, if you don't know who I am already, and my buddy Paul Lucido over on the left coast, west coast, representing Southern California. Paul, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Andrew. I miss you, buddy.
Miss you too. We've been like, we haven't done this for about 3 weeks. And what this is, in case if you're just watching us for the first time, Barbara, I see you're in there. Love you. But if you're just watching this for the first time, Paul and I don't remember how many months ago, but we decided to go on a journey inspired by Jay Doran's 30 Days of Thought. And the idea was to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Well, we're both people actually who put people on stage and on camera, and listen, I'm through Mortgage News Network. I'm asking questions all the time, but it's never just out here with our own thoughts, our own pure thoughts. And Jay, in his book 30 Days of Thought, has pushed us to do that. So, Paul, how are things doing for you today?
Things are great, Andrew, over here. I'm at in my office at PRMG. Paramount Residential Mortgage Group, and I'm very excited about doing this. And you're right, we've done probably together, you and I have probably cranked out, I want to say, maybe 7 or 8 of these episodes that we've done, and we've been doing it for some time now. So I'm very excited about today's subject, to get into it. I don't know if you want to lead off. And
I'll kick it off, yes. So today is O plus M equals B. O plus M equals B. And basically, it's the outcome or stimulus, plus or minus, the current matrix equals belief. Paul, I'm going to let you actually, because you always kick this off so nicely, and then I could steal some of your ideas and pretend like some of them are my own.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that compliment. And let me tell you, as I re-listen to a lot of the podcasts that we've done in the past, it gives me a chance to really, settle in. I usually do it on my way home from work, and I re-listen to them, and I pick up a lot from what you say as well. So it's mutual, brother. So look, this is about basically, and I made some notes here, of course. What Jay is talking about is we all have preconceived notions about things that are based upon our life experiences, our upbringings, and knowledge. And I put here, however limited they may be, right? So all of us are the sum of our experiences and our upbringings, etc. I think where Jay is going with this equation, as he said here, as Andrew said, O being the outcome, and the outcome is a result of all this preconceived stuff, which is the matrix. He calls the matrix. That's kind of how we're all made up of, these experiences. And then finally equals belief. And the question is, how much faith, how much conviction do you put in those beliefs based on the glasses that you're wearing? So if you're a positive person, you might see everything very positive. A good example, I've been reading Christine Beckwith's book. I'll give her a quick plug, Wise Eyes. And in Wise Eyes, she talks about how she's overcome some obstacles. She's found her way to overcome negativity that's been in her life. And now Christine is a very positive person. So those glasses, figuratively speaking, that she wears, she sees everything from more of a positive perspective, draws positive experiences, positive people into her life. Same kind of thing of what Jay is saying here. So here's what I'm going to read to you really quick. And so bottom line is we all have preconceived notions, again, these experiences. But these personal experiences play a major role throughout our lifetime as we react to different stimulus and whether we are accepting of such stimulus, right? Whether it's positive or negative. And then beyond that, all of which determine if we fully invest and believe in something. So there are a lot of things that, it's kind of, can you teach an old dog new tricks? At the end of the day, here's how I look at it. Knowledge is power. As we continue to educate ourselves, and where Jay kind of goes into this, and I believe this is pretty much where he's going with this. The new he calls it newfangled. What he's referring to is new modern experiences, new things and objectives that are a little bit outside of what we're normally used to. Okay, getting used to those things and becoming accepting of those things could cause some change for the better for us as we grow, as we learn to figure out who we really are. And finally, a way to get there is through mentorship, through guidance, institution, and education. So you never really arrive. We're always in a flux of learning. And the idea is that might affect our beliefs going forward. The more knowledge we gain, the more we learn, the more we break bad habits. Those things then will have an effect on how much conviction we put into something that's presented to us, something that's new. Should I follow that path? Should I follow that leadership, etc.? So I think that pretty much covers it from my perspective. We can now discuss it. But again, your preconceived notions, what you've been accustomed to over time, okay, plays a major role in whether you're accepting of something, okay, that's presented to you, okay? And whether you're a positive or negative person also has a major role play in that. Andrew.
Yeah. So I think like it's interesting. My take from this was somewhat similar, but not really. So I'm going to just go out there. So outcome plus or minus current matrix equal belief. So my belief system, is kind of it's a formula that we kind of determine. Now we can't control the outcome or stimulus, but we can control our matrix. So you're always great at actually talking at a much more higher level that to understand the concepts. Now for me, I have to read this like 4 or 5 times so I could comprehend it, and then I have to break it down into something that I could understand at my level. So here's the way I was thinking it. So outcome, you can't control an outcome. You can control your matrix, what you're measuring yourself by, and let's say, and I always use our industry, the mortgage industry, to kind of to exemplify, these concepts. And so let's say you're an originator and, you're cranking out 5 loans a month. Not bad. It's not, you're not in elite status, but listen, 5 loans a month, still a respectable income. And if you say that next month I want to increase production and I want to do 10 loans a month, and when next month comes, if you don't hit those 10 loans a month, all of a sudden, actually, your belief is that you're a failure, because your matrix was set too high. Whereas if you can't control necessarily the outcome, but you can control your matrix. And so if, let's say, you say next month, I want to do 1 more loan than I did this month. So instead of doing 5 loans this month, I'm going to do 6 or 5 loans next month. I'll do 6 loans. And then every month you add more, and 5 months you're at 10 loans. And you view your belief is that you are a much you're more of a success, because you're not weighing yourself down with this potential unobtainable goal. And if you kind of have a matrix that's something more in line with something that you can achieve, that's what I feel actually helps to have a belief that you are a success. Whereas if you're setting yourself up for failure because you're going to double production in 1 month, which you're not going to double production in 1 month, but maybe you could add 1 more loan in 1 month, you're setting yourself up in the right direction. Does that make sense?
It actually does. And it's interesting that you went there. And I'm going to tell you something. And it's only because it's fresh in my mind. Christine talks about something that you just mentioned. It actually applies more to what she's talking about. And what she's talking about is setting a business plan, a particular plan. She's got what's called these 8 core philosophies, which I think I'm at the 8th. I think I might have read the 8th philosophy last night. But anyway, here's the deal. There is where you are and where you'd like to be. And if I understood what she was saying, is you got to figure out what that difference is. Once you've evaluated what that difference is, then you break that down incrementally in steps to get there, whether it's over a 12-month period, and then break that down into weeks, and then weeks into days. Incremental behaviors that will get you where you're trying to go. So in the case of loans, that would absolutely apply. However, with respect, I think where Jay is really going is Jay is talking more at a philosophical level about just how you move through life and having an understanding of being open to certain things and realizing that a lot of what you perceive to be is all predicated on the matrix that makes you up. All the behaviors, all the upbringing, all the mentorship that you may have gotten along the way, including parenting, whatever it might be, has kind of shaped to who you are right up to the day you die. We all have it. Some people call it baggage. I've got some baggage. I try to leave it at the door, whatever. The reality of it is that all has a very fundamental role play in how you see things. Go back to the glasses. How are you, interacting with people? The idea is to make a conscious choice to try to be a more positive person and try to eliminate as much negativity out of your life as you can. And then and that way you kind of retool or course correct a little bit of who you are through educating yourself more, kind of like what you and I are attempting to do by having this discourse and, of course, distilling these ideas, these concepts. So I want to go back to what you said, trying to use some active listening. I like where you're going as you're applying it to the loan industry. If you already have a preconceived belief of failure, you're probably going to fail. You need to somehow find a way to get around it. One way to get around it is to find some good mentorship out there. Find somebody who could help you get your wheels out of the mud a little bit, show you that there is light at the end of the tunnel. So all these practices and all these principles all play in how we, through cause and effect, how we react to situations. So I don't want to ramble because I have a tendency to do that. I would like to hear from you.
Listen, I just still, I think one of the best things about this, about 30 Days of Thought, there's no wrong answers. And it's left for us to kind of interpret it our own way. And I think using that matrix to kind of set yourself up to have that positive mindset is what's important. Whether it's using a business plan that has attainable goals, realistic goals, whatever it is, setting it up with the right mindset, I think, is what's important. And that's the way, actually. That's my take on this.
I think it's a great take. I think you have a great take, and I like how you tied it into the industry, and it's important because most of our listeners are fundamentally originators and brokers alike, account executives, people that live and breathe in this industry. And again, as we've been saying all along, in Jay's overarching philosophy, culture matters. Everything that Jay speaks to in his book so far, every single parable that we've read, a simile, analogy that he's put together, speaks to the importance of the right actions and the right behaviors and having the right mindset that you can get and achieve certain things in life, and also how we interact with one another too. So that's really what I love about the book, and makes me excited to want to read it. And also, it's an interesting thing. Real quick, if I may just digress for a moment. Stephen Covey always talked about his main thing is you increase your circle of influence, and by increasing your circle of influence, you narrow your circle of concern. The circle of influence is on the inside. The circle of concern is real big. It's on the outside. But as you increase your influence on the inside, that distance between the circle of influence versus the circle of concern becomes smaller. Part of that influence is also bringing in people into your life that are positively reinforced people. A good example of that is Jay Doran, Barry Habib. I see somebody there. Barry Habib. Hi, sweetheart.
Hi.
Hi. I also look at Christine Beckwith, who now has been introduced to me again through you, Andrew. You have been kind of the hub, bringing all these people into our lives, and they're great writers. They have great philosophies, and so again, you're increasing your circle of influence, and then of course your circle of concern becomes much smaller. You have more impact out there. So the message is try to stay positive.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you're not going to have bad days. Doesn't mean you're not going to get your knees dirty every once in a while. It's going to happen. And there's going to be days you're going to wake up and go, really? But you got to get past that. So that is all part of that matrix.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love that.
That's my 2 cents.
No, listen, you're right. I mean, the whole book, Positive Mindset. I mean, we have we have so much power in us. There's so much greatness in us that that we need to kind of keep focusing on, and that's like every parable that we've gone into. Which by the way, I don't know if you've gone ahead and read a Million Supermans acting as Robin.
I love that one. Yes, I have.
I just went through it this morning. That's what we got to do next. I mean, because that I think is perfect, like for the whole mindset. So I think actually that was good. Yeah, Erica, you got to check out this book. My friend Erica just posted on there. It's an amazing book. I mean, it's something that the 30 Days of Thought book. I mean, it's so weird to kind of put the label as a book, because it's not a book. I mean, this is just like it's a game changer for so many people that have gone through the practice. But basically, the book, you read one of the sections that Jay wrote, you write about it, and you record a video. And it's been very, very powerful for me. Paul, I think it's been powerful for you, and we know countless of other people that are doing this. Many of us are doing these videos privately. Like if in my phone, there's a bunch of these videos where I'm doing this at 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning. Hair completely messed up, but. It's a great thing to kind of go back, as Jay pointed out, go back and watch those videos and hear yourself. So that's about it. I think so. We're going to do this again next week, and I think a Million Supermans acting as Robin for next week sounds great.
That sounds terrific. And you and I had an opportunity to have a nice conversation with Jay yesterday. And by the way, Jay, if you're listening, I really enjoyed that little discourse that we had yesterday. This book, 30 Days of Thought, promotes really good campfire talk, which I love doing that. I have a nice little fire pit in my backyard, and these are the kind of conversations we like to have. High-level conversations, just trying to figure a way through it, and it's a lot of fun. So I, as Andrew, encourage you guys to pick up a copy of this book. I promise you will not be disappointed.
Fantastic. All right, Paul, we'll do this again next week, and that's about it. Everyone, thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. End the broadcast. Vivian wants to say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye, Vivian.
Bye.